Good morning and welcome to Backyard and Beyond. And hopefully you've looked out in your backyard this morning and you see some, at least green grass, maybe some flowers popping up. Well, it's a gorgeous morning. Well, if you are looking for something to do today, like you didn't have anything else to do, find some bubble wrap. Yep, that's why I said bubble wrap. You know that stuff that comes ar- packed around things so they won't break. You often get them in packaging. I've been in stores where they wrap something up that's, like a vase, something breakable, and wrap it up in bubble wrap before they put it into your bag. Bubble wrap originally was made to be used as, I believe it was, of all things, wallpaper. Well, that's a whole nother story, I think. But I have to say thank you to Marnie Elkhorn Telephone Company. They send out a newsletter related to our computers and often have websites to check out. And one of them, this last newsletter, was bubblewrapfun.com. And of course, that's all one word, bubblewrapfun.com. Now, if you don't have a computer, stay tuned because I want to share a little bit of the information on there because it really is a fun website where it's interactive. You can go on there and punch the bubbles with your mouse. You can paint and a lot of different things, but you don't need a computer to think about some things you can do with bubble wrap. Probably the thing that's done most is, most everybody, if they pick up a piece of bubble wrap while they're unwrapping, they have to pop at least one bubble. And some people just go on. And if you're in the same room, you're going, oh, stop that. Because if you're not involved with it, you might not like the sound so much. And there are smaller bubbles and bigger bubbles. They're not all the same kind. But on this website, one of the things it shows is things that you can do with bubble wrap that it wasn't originally meant to do. One of them is to make clothing. And there's a picture of a woman who somebody made her a coat out of bubble wrap. Now, at first you think, yeah, a coat out of bubble wrap. Well, it would not get wet. I mean, it would keep you from getting wet if you were out in the rain. And it would probably keep you a little warm because it would act like insulation. A little far out. People have made other kinds of clothing out of bubble wrap also. One of the ones that I thought was kind of cute was using the bubble wrap to make an impression in frosting. Well, let's hope that it was washed first. And it showed it being used on cupcakes. Of course, cupcakes are the in kind of cake right now. And it was really kind of cute. Something really different, really simple. Frost the cupcake and then take a little piece of bubble wrap and press into it to make an impression. Hey, easy way to do something unique. Another kind of thing that they were doing was suggesting that you use bubble wrap. If you have kids and you're having a party, hey, just give all the kids bubble wrap. With sometimes, they could just sit around and pop the bubbles. But you could also have them do contests in terms of what could they make out of that bubble wrap. One of the things that it showed was a hopscotch pattern. I don't know if you ever played hopscotch when you were a kid and drew it out, used a marker to put all the numbers and so on it. Well, if every kid did their own hopscotch, and you probably want to be outside because this would be really noisy. But what fun they would have not only doing the hopscotch pattern, but going pop, 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 crack. And on the other hand, something to play with that wouldn't be so noisy is several people wrapped up in the bubble wrap until they had a round ball. And they were showing kids playing with this bubble wrap ball in the house. It's lightweight. If it hits something, it's not going to break anything. And, it was a safe toy and really fun to use. It also showed the same idea, but using like indoor volleyball or something like that. That could get a little crazy. But with the ball made out of bubble wrap. Also, a snowman made out of bubble wrap. Same idea of shaping the balls 3 different sizes, and you can do a little snowman or a big snowman depending on how much bubble wrap you have, but just putting them together like you would balls of snow to make a snowman. Another, I think, a little more creative, although all of this is going to take a little creativity, is to paint with bubble wrap, making the impression. This is, I don't know if you've done any printing with found objects. We've done a lot of, for instance, cutting a slice of apple, putting paint on it, pressing it on paper, so then you have printed the apple shape. Well, you can put paint on your bubble wrap and paint with it to make pictures. It's kind of like that pointillism artist, only he had teeny tiny little points of paint. Well, the bubble wrap is going to make bigger points of paint. And then getting into an even bigger picture of using bubble wrap and paint was to do a whole room, and instead of using a sponge, if you're familiar with a sponge painting on the wall that makes the texture in the paint, well, some people have used bubble wrap as instead of the sponge, and you get this really unique texture on the wall. Now, that was all in the same color. It was just adding texture versus doing the pictures. Of course, they were mostly done with different kinds of colors by, again, putting paint on the bubble wrap and then pressing the bubble wrap on to paper or some background. Another picture showed a large wall in a school where they had put up a large piece of bubble wrap. It was in the hallway, and as kids went from class to class, as they went by the wall, they could pop a couple of bubbles. I don't know if that was stress relief or just fun to do, but hey, everybody could go by and pop a couple bubbles on their way to their next class. On a more practical note, bubble wrap might be used, at least temporarily, as a window insulation. You cover a window with it, and it would insulate it, and yet you would have some light coming through. Also, again, probably temporarily, if you have a door with a doorknob that's when you open the door, it goes back into the wall and is making an impression on the wall. Well, temporarily, until you get one of the doorstop things, cover the knob with bubble wrap. You might think of some other places in the house where you need some, again, I think pretty temporary protection for a particular surface, a particular corner. Maybe when kids are little, you want a temporary protection on some sharp corner. Hey, you could do that with bubble wrap. So that's a little more practical thing to be using the bubble wrap for. But think about this is where that creativity comes in. Think about all the things you might do with bubble wrap. Besides, what I do is store some of it away, so when I want to wrap up a package, I've got some ready to go. But that's not very creative. Again, it's one of the more practical things. Going back to the computer part of it, I mentioned that you could do the popping, and there's a time mode on it, so it's sort of like a little contest. How many bubbles can you pop in a certain amount of time? If you want to do something that's sort of mindless and just a physical activity for your hand. And also there's a quiz about bubble wrap, and you can paint with your computer mouse. You can choose a color and do the painting that will come out with the little dots that will look like, finished product will look like a bubble painted picture or design. Now, here's one now this is taking a little far, but I'm not a golfer. This has to do with golfers who golf indoors. I think occasionally some people may even do that as a way to spend their time in the office. I don't know. But the suggestion was you can make instead of sand traps, you just cut out shapes of bubble wrap and lay it down on the carpet, and that's your sand trap for playing golf indoors. Lots more possibilities. Just kind of fun to think about. And to end with, to a different kind of fun, think about what you can do with duct tape. And I know our local Hy-Vee store has a duct tape contest going on. Another item that was meant for different purpose altogether that's being turned into all kinds of things. Well, again, creativity and imagination is what some of those things are all about. If you're stressed today, maybe you should go out and find some bubble wrap. And to go along with that, till next time, nowadays, early to bed and early to rise probably means the television set isn't working. So go find some bubble wrap.